Hey guys, it's Tina. Welcome back to my channel where I ask you to picture what financial freedom looks like to you and we talk about ways to get there. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button so I can grow this YouTube family. And if you're returning, thank you so much. Be sure to like and comment because I want to hear from you. Today, I want to talk about the entrepreneurial gap, which for me is encapsulated in a really simple phrase that I have been saying to myself probably since my early 20s. That saying is give more than you get. It is the basis of generosity, and I feel that generosity in spirit, generosity in action, generosity in financial ways, all of these things are sowing seeds that eventually will come back to you in one way or another. Probably not in the way that you fully expect, but they will come back to you. Now, I know this looking in hindsight, but the truth is, I didn't realize this when I was putting this into practice. I just wanted to be a good person. I wanted to be kind. I wanted to be generous. And so I just instilled this philosophy of give more than you get. What I didn't know then that I know now is that this is actually the basis for what we call the entrepreneurial gap. The entrepreneurial gap is fascinating, and ultimately it is that way in a business that you can go above and beyond what your peers or your competitors are doing to add more value to either your superiors or to your customers. And it is the foundation of establishing a competitive advantage. You need to understand that a competitive advantage isn't just in terms of business, like I'm going to build a better mousetrap. It's also in terms of what do you specifically as an employee or as a business owner offer. And when you do this, you will see that you will reap benefits in so many ways because you start to shine. You stand out, and people will appreciate that. They will appreciate you. And the reason they'll appreciate you is because you're doing appreciable things. What exactly is the entrepreneurial gap? It is the difference between your scope of responsibility and the scope of accountability that you have given yourself. I will give a word of caution that if you are doing this in a corporate setting, you want to make sure that you're not overstepping somebody else's accountability, at least not without their buy-in. Otherwise, you could create an enemy unintentionally, and that will not serve you in the long run. However, if you are seeing that there's a need, nobody else is doing it, then by all means, step up and do it. You might not be at the moment receiving income or payment for those things, but I promise you it will come. If it doesn't come in the immediate job, it will come in the next one. There's really a few things you do or that occur when you take this pattern of behavior. The first thing is that people notice you. Like I mentioned a moment ago, you start to shine. You will absolutely shine. And then secondly, you begin to make yourself an expert and indispensable. I'll give you a couple examples. One will be superficial just to highlight the idea of the entrepreneurial gap. And then the second one will be an example from my own life where I stood out and did something and it reaped a benefit for me down the way. In the first example, you are a barista and you are tasked with the responsibility of making the most delicious lattes, Americanos, and other espresso drinks that you can possibly make. And your customers love you, and here's the funny thing that keeps happening though. They are enjoying their beverage and then think, oh, I'd like a biscotti, or I would like a croissant. And you've come to realize these are not available, but you know that there is a bakery just down the street and you feel that if you could buy some things in bulk, they'll give you a discount on the price. So you go and negotiate that, you bring the pastries back and you sell them with an upcharge. Now you have just better met your customers' needs and you have gone and done something that is above and beyond your specific degree of responsibility. But you've made it your accountability. You've gone and done this. You've improved the business for your customers and for your boss. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Most bosses, a good leader, is going to love this. They're going to love people thinking on their feet. As long as you're not in maybe a regulated space where they might be worried about the choices that you're making. But for the most part, when you go above and beyond, a leader is going to think, man, that's a go-getter. I can trust this person. This person cares about my business. This person is going to make me more successful. And every good leader knows that the people who work for them, their success is your success. So when they do things and they have success in those endeavors, really it's the leader's success as well. And because of this, a great leader will prop that person up, give them more responsibility, ask for more ideas, and a floodgate is opened. A fair warning, there are also bad leaders in this world. If you are the type of creative person who pursues entrepreneurial gaps and your boss is angry about it, resistant to it, spiteful, you need to find a new boss. And it's just the bottom line, calling a spade when I say that. But I don't think that that's the case for most people. As long as you make smart decisions, you investigate the choices you're making, and you can justify it. And if you feel like you really need to get your boss's buy-in before you take action, by all means do that. Actually, now that I say that, I probably would encourage that. But even doing the research and figuring out that there is a bakery down the street and that they will sell you at a discount for volume. These are all things that show you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, that you're willing to go above and beyond. And I'm telling you, bosses love that stuff. As a matter of fact, that's the best way to get yourself set up for a promotion. So pursue it. Be smart, write it down, give it to your boss, and get that hustle on, because it's the fastest way to make more money, and the fastest way to make more money is the fastest way to get you to your financial freedom goals. All right, guys, and now an example from my own career. When I was a business systems consultant, I was asked to help managers understand the amount of risk that they had within their particular team and to work with them to understand how they were going to mitigate that risk. A lot of these conversations were happening as one-off discussions, and I realized as I was having these conversations that there was no easy way to track and understand what were all the controls that these teams had to align with. So I produced a spreadsheet that was called the Risk Readiness Review. It included all of the controls they had to align with, the links to the corporate policies that made them control requirements, and then also kept a place for tracking whether the gap was large, whether the gap was small, and steps they might take for mitigating that gap or ensuring that that gap was closed. Then above and beyond that, I also offered them to do check-ins and to help them keep track of their progress. And so in this way, I was serving those managers, I was serving my own boss, I was serving the company, and frankly, I was serving myself, because really, I was building a tremendous network in doing this. I was getting to learn a whole new field that I wasn't familiar with, and I was becoming perceived by these other teams and these other managers as somebody who was an expert in this space, even though I really didn't know what I was doing. But I pursued it with vigor, and I pursued it with the mentality of, I am going to give more, I'm going to do better, I'm going to learn more, and I'm going to serve better. And in doing this, I really built a fabulous reputation for myself that created momentum that pushed me right up in my career for years. This was a foundational activity that I did that really solidified people's perception of me as somebody who was a go-getter, somebody who wanted to help, somebody who wanted to learn. And if you can do that, especially if you're early in your career, it will pay year after year after year. It's one of the best investments that you can make. Looking back now, I can see that I received at least 2 of my jobs that came later on in my career because of my willingness to serve during that risk readiness review time. The people who hired me knew the people who I served previously, and they got great feedback about who I am and what I offer. As you start to live this way, you will find that ideas will start rolling. You will have more and more ideas. You will have opened up a wellspring. And so I have to encourage you, keep lists, write these things down. It is amazing to me how I will have an amazing idea, and if I don't write it down, I might lose it. And then it'll come back to me later and I'll think, oh my gosh, I've wasted months. I should have pursued that. I should have written that down. Also, if you could take immediate action on one of those ideas, do it, if not even to get the ball rolling. No joke, people. There have been so many times I've had an idea and I thought, oh, so-and-so should know about this, or we should do such and such. And I will send an email to the right people and I will encourage action to be taken. And then 2-3 months later, whatever that idea was, something starts to build up, like something's brewing that is gonna warrant that behavior or that action, whatever it is that I recommended months ago. And I have done this multiple times in my life. I will send out another email, be like, hey guys, look at this is brewing. We should totally do X, Y, and Z about it. And they will come back to me and say, yeah, we know. You brought this up 3 months ago and we've already done yada, 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 yada. and it turns out you're in a better position for it. Instilling these habits to track your ideas, make immediate action whenever possible, or at the very least build them into a time frame on when you want to take action for it, will really set you up for continued success. And the more continued success you have, the more people will want to work with you, and the more people who want to work with you, the more money you can make. The more money you can make, the faster you can pay off debt, the faster you can grow your wealth, the faster you can be financially independent. Put this in every aspect of your life. Be more generous with your kids. Give more of your time. Be more generous with your friends. Give whatever you can. Be more generous in your community. Be more generous with your spouse. And maybe this is generosity like giving them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is generosity like passing down your children's clothes to the neighbor. You can think of a plethora of ways that you can be more generous with those around you. And every time you do this, you are creating an entrepreneurial gap. You're going above and beyond. You're building your reputation, and you are sowing seeds so that one day it will come back to you. I don't know how it happens, but I genuinely believe as a Christian, and this is my final thought, you cannot outgive God. God gave his only son so that we could all be saved, and he is also the giver of all good gifts. Everything that I count as a blessing in my life, I praise him for and I thank him for. And I know that when I am sowing these generosity seeds, it's really going to come back to me because of him, because I'm doing things that are in accordance to his will, and that he really likes that. It might feel like your boss is never going to pay you back, but I'm telling you, the big man upstairs is watching, and he will make sure that when you do things well and when you do things with the right spirit, you will be rewarded. There you go, guys. I hope you have an amazing day, and leave some ideas below. If you've got some entrepreneurial gaps that you're working on, I would love to hear about them. I have a few friends that tell me some of their business ideas, and I'm telling you, it's invigorating, right? Don't you get so excited when you hear about somebody else's success? It just makes you want to get successful. It makes you want to get out there and get your hustle on, get your grind on. So enjoy it, be inspired, and do something.